for it. So the one that I found that I like is Wordwall.net. And the great thing about it is that there's a lot of already Wilson lessons on there, and there, so you can. It's a free app. You can make different types of games, matching type experiences, or they have a whack-a-mole. They have like a Pac-Man type game you can do. You can just do yes or no. And so I've been using it with one of my little guys that we've been working on the vowel sounds. This is an ah or an ah sound, and you can put in just pictures. The great thing is you can develop your own, or you can do a search for the community, and there's free ones already made. There's a lot of Wilson languages. There's a Wilson language. There's a lot of what are some? The Institute of Multisensory Education has a lot on there. So people can make it private or open it up to the community. And so there's even ELL, like English to Spanish to German. I've seen Chinese vocabulary flashcards on there. My first grader that loves it, we play a lot of whack-a-mole, and we've been studying the ch sound, and so we've been discriminating between the ch and the j, the ch and the j sound, and so they see a picture, like I started simple, discriminating between jam and chair, and then you can do it to CVC words. It also has a spinning wheel where you can just spin the wheel and practice reading words.
Oh, and don't the portions of it go away as it reads
You
them?
push eliminate and it removes them from the wheel, so you're not hitting the same one. It's also a great one to use virtually. You can give the students access to your computer where they can spin the wheel, or you can do it for them also. But I really like that one a lot. That's been my favorite one, my favorite free one. Anybody have what are y'all using for? It's not necessarily multisensory, but it's the closest I could get for some multisensory in the beginning last spring or in last summer. What are y'all using to help keep it multisensory virtually? It's a tough one.
Jenny Dowd for phonics. Heather was just mentioning that.
What was that?
It's called Jenny Dowd for phonics. Pictures and sound song are great for the younger ones.
Oh,
that looks fun.
okay.
There's this great guy on if you go on, I'm gonna look for him before I start describing him. Let's see if I can do it.
Mr. R.
Mr. R.
Is that who it is?
He's this adorable, probably like middle-aged black guy, and he sings like,
never mind.
Like, where is short A? Where is short A? He does this whole he's got this whole rhythm to it. It's very cute. I'll see if I can find it.
I've seen him. Yes, I have, and it's hilarious. Yeah, he's very energetic, not hilarious in a funny way, but hilarious in a good way. Yeah, I like him.
I haven't used it very often, but I'm gonna I'll put it on the list. It's called Rewordify.com, and if you post a kind of a more difficult passage into it, they reword what they consider difficult phrases, right? So I just was playing around with it, and instead of it saying legislature, it just says California government. And they took out some of the other words and they just said law-based, right? So just so you could focus more on the gist of the story and not get overwhelmed by the vocabulary.
I do like that. I like that. Oh, yeah, for the virtual teaching toys, objects, and scavenger hunts. Scavenger hunt is a good idea. I haven't thought about that one. Hold on, I'm reading. I'll escape. Y'all can read with me as they type. It's kind of exciting. Decorate jailbird for word that break. Oh, that's cute. A rule breaker. I like him. I like it.
The Kindle Learning games that they have, their card games, are also very helpful. And if they're not too expensive, and so if you're trying to work virtually, each of you can have a deck and kind of play an Uno style game or slap game or something like that.
And sometimes she offers those, Emily, for free in her emails if you sign up for them.
Oh,
Yes.
Kindle Learning, right?
Yeah.
Kindle.
One of my students one day was like, this is really just, we're just reading these words instead. And I was like, yeah, we totally are. It's our way of practicing reading the words as we're playing the game. And he's like, yeah, but we're really still just practicing words. And I go, yeah. Do you want me to just come on a worksheet instead? And he was like, no.
So he figured it out and was shocked.
I know.
You're just making me read words. That's funny. That's good. Kindle Learning also offers free workshops, right?
Yes.
So they do some webinars, yes.
Webinars, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Jenny Dow for phonics, pictures and sounds and songs. Great for you. Oh, okay.
Oh no. Some of them went away.
I'm just putting that in from the chat. So.
Oh, okay. I just was like, I don't want to mess up someone's stuff.
Sorry, I just took a blank spot and put that in.
I like it. I haven't heard of them.
Can you tell us about it a little?
About Jenny Dowd?
Mm-hmm.
The Phonics Dance?
Yeah, it's really cute. I used it with my kindergartners and my preschoolers a lot. But it's probably not maybe not higher than second, because I guess I first started using it in second grade. But it's got like pictures and then like the consonant blends and the vowel patterns too. So there's like a different sound and a picture that goes with it. And so like, I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head is like you say like CH, and they like dance like a chicken and it's got like a chicken on it.
Oh, cute.
So it's like, it's really catchy. And my second graders actually, like by the time they had gotten to second grade, they had it like so memorized. But it's a good way just because it has the picture, the sound, everything. But it is expensive, I think, because you have to buy like her whole subscription. But I moved from school to school. And so like there were some schools that didn't have it. So I just YouTubed it and I like found it. And then you can like YouTube different lessons so you can kind of get away with doing it for free and make your own cards and things, because she has cards and the whole alphabet that you can put up, but you can get away with doing it for free or you can buy it.
When you said that, that reminded me, I found this book on Amazon because I have a student that loves to color and there's a lot of coloring in it, and you don't have to buy into the whole program, just like you're saying. And I think it was $4.95 for the book. But it does blends and diagraphs. It's very good. I mean, it gives the student a variety of things to do. Trying to find a page where I have them as it's like, color by number, except it's by blend. And every time they have that blend that they're coloring, I make them say it out loud. And so we just play a game and I've got a copy. And so I don't color as meticulously as they do, but I'll color it. And so we'll go back and forth with our blends. And one of the mothers was in the kitchen and she goes, I just love hearing my students sing the blends. And I'm like, okay. But it's very inexpensive. Meet the Phonics by Preschool Prep Company.
You said meet the phonics?
Meet the Phonics.
Okay.
And I have blends and digraphs. Those are the two I decided to go with. And I didn't get all the other things.
On Amazon?
Yes.
Are they all coloring books?
Actually, there is a coloring book also because the student is such a colorer. But what I found was I got it because I wanted him to have something to do without me.
Right.
And I thought he could color at the house. Oh, no, he doesn't. And so I don't do that during our session with him. I use this one instead. Because the other one is 2 pages for one blend. And that's a lot of time coloring,
Yeah,
especially if they're meticulous.
right.
So I had thought, oh, that would be really good. I was like, oh, I found something, nope. He ended up manipulating it like, no, I don't want to do the one with the workbook ones. I want to do just flow for flag. And I'm just like, I don't know. They're so conniving sometimes.
They're funny.
Yeah, they are.
We'll go with creative.
Yeah.
Yes, very creative. And of course, you want to encourage that.
Mm-hmm.
At least I do. But we all do, I'm sure. Did anybody, I don't think anybody mentioned, you were talking about the snap words. There's something also called Fry's first 100 words.
Oh, yes.
Okay, because a lamplighter uses those also. And I think it's a good list.
I like the fry words. I just know snap words, it says it follows the Dolch words, but they kind of cross over. But
That's what I have found because I'm kind of using both with this student since the school uses both. There's one other thing that's kind of fun, and you're making me think about things. Okay. Word families. It's just like little flashcards when we do playing games with it. Like it'll have, ache, and you'll just have them come up with all kinds of different words that they can make out of it. One thing I was thinking on that coloring book when I was trying to figure out a way to make it work because I hated wasting $4.95. And I would sit there with a dictionary and come up with all these different kind of words and put them in sentences that the student could understand. And it really, I was willing to do that if he's willing to participate with the sentences, because it really helped his vocabulary.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't short words. He used a word I didn't even know he knew, and he used it in a sense, and it had nothing to do with the blends, but he goes, lure. And I was thinking, like, is he going to talk about fishing lures? Where is he going with this? But anyway, it's amazing what vocab words they do have.
mm-hmm. Okay, someone added on vocabulary. I didn't realize that you can find a lot on YouTube for free, which is fabulous. And then Mr. R Number Rock.
Yeah, Mr. R and Number Rock are 2 separate ones, but they have a lot of really good songs for like different concepts in math. And vocabulary, yeah, you just have to type in you have to know what you're looking for. So if you type in main idea, detail, vocabulary, a lot of it'll pop up for free. But you obviously don't get the lessons and the vocabulary sheets and everything to go along with it, which is really great if you have the subscription. I think the subscription only cost me $120 a year for just a single teacher. So it wasn't outrageous.
That's not bad.
No.
Mm-hmm.
And vocabulary is nice because it's more than just reading and vocab, and things. Like you can do everything. You can do grammar, you can do math. They have social studies. It even goes up into the higher grades too, and it levels it out and says like, these are good for K through second grade. These are good for 7th through 12th grade. So it's for all grade levels.
One other thing that I mean, probably most of you at least that are familiar with Shelton know about the memory boards, the tactile memory boards.
Mhm.
They're wonderful if you and you can buy them online through Shelton. I didn't know that early on. You can, and the kids are pretty good about doing it. You know, and you watch them.
Yeah.
But it really, I mean, I've used it with 8th graders at St. Mark's for vocabulary, and it really works. Do it 3 times, voice it, and I do it with them.
How are you?
I guess I'm out of the loop here. What was that? What is that?
It's
tactile?
called a memory board, and the research has shown Shelton uses them just a tremendous amount, and it's you use the rough side, not the smooth side, and it really works better, I think, when a student has learned script and they're not just printing. But anyway, I do it with printing also. And for a CBC, just CAT and do it 3 times. And then they recommend to take it and then put it on paper 3 times. I often don't do that with the young ones because it's too much for them, but they're okay with doing it 3 times with this. And then on the let's say they might get 38 out of 40 of the snap words on the fry list, and then I'll let them use the foam on the tray because they adore that. Even though it's messy, I mean, you've got to get a parent to go along with it.
Mhm.
Oh, the shaving cream?
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
I have one that's a connoisseur of what brand he likes.
Oh, there we go.
Like,
So-
you know what? We're gonna have the ones that I got on sale.
You're gonna like the ones from Dollar Tree.
Exactly.
Exactly. I use what I call the bumpy screen, and it's that you find it like over in the cross stitch and knitting section. It's the mesh grid, like at the craft store, and you can sew on it like with yarn and stuff.
Oh,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
okay.
Mhm.
Yes.
I call it the bumpy screen, and we use it and we write our red words on it. And so I just put paper over it with a red crayon. Now the older ones, why do I have to use a crayon? I'm going, well, because it's not the same with the marker. And the pencil stabs through. And so we write our red words on the bumpy screen.
That's a great idea.
And that's dirt cheap. Yeah. And because you can cut them to size, you can keep them big. Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
So anything else for our ideas for lessons?
In the summer, have any of you used the summer skills workbooks?
Mm-mm.
No, nobody's heard of them.
I've heard of them.
I just haven't used them.
I started with them about 25 years ago, and it covers you do it. Let's say you have a first grader. They've just finished first grade, and you explain to the parent, this is correct. You do get the first grade workbook, and it has about 30 to 34 lessons that are usually about 2 pages in length. And there are only maybe 3 to 4 problems on each one, and they have math and language arts are the ones I love, but the Common Core is sprinkled throughout the entire workbook, and it's designed to do about 3 a week. And especially now with the virtual and the hybrid learning, I find that what I love about this is it'll fill in holes that maybe a teacher didn't get to or a student didn't understand.
Mhm.
So they have the entire math all the way up through high school, and as they not in the very easy ones, but as they get more difficult, there's an answer key in the back if you want the parent to check some of their work, and I just have them put an X if they got it wrong, and then I'll reteach it in the session.
Mhm.
And there's some manipulatives in each book that you can rip out. They sold the company, I think it was a year and a half ago now, under 2 years. And they're not as user friendly. I don't want to be disparaging, but I mean, if you were a tutor, they would always give you like free postage, free shipping, and they're not doing that. And I really appreciate that. I said, I'll place an order for all my students, and they said, well, as a tutor, we'll give you the free shipping. And their shipping gets expensive for 1 or 2 workbooks. But the language arts are great, and the math. In fact, most of the students that continue with me, I require them to do that in the summer. I just say, and they love it because they see the first 4 to 6 weeks in the fall, they're getting a solid A.
That's good.
So it becomes encouraging to them. They don't feel like it's busy work.
That's nice. That's good.
So it's summerskills.com.
Summerskills.com. Okay.
Right. And the books themselves are not expensive. I think they did raise them like $2 a book, but they're under 20. And one of the pluses is the kids can take them on an airplane. They can use them at the beach. It's giving them some eye break from the screen.
Mhm.
So our next topic, let's see if I can do this, is social and emotional learning. As we know, we have to, we work with the whole student, and we often are a safe haven for many of these students that they come in and they share their woes with us. And it's always good to have a nice little bag full of tricks here too. So the one that I found from the conference that I like, especially with those kind of older elementary, junior high kids, just to learn a little bit more about themselves, is the Spirit Animal Personality Quiz. And it's so cute because you get to find out what animal you are. So, they think they're doing something fun, but if you're a wolf, you're da 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 da. If you're an eagle, you're more like this. And it just gives them a little insight into them as a person. And we talk about how it's important to know who you are and what you like and what works for you and doesn't work for you, but also how you're wired. Not what your teacher's saying about you or what your mom's saying about you, but how you're wired, kind of focusing on you as a person and kind of growing that.
What ages would you say that's good for?
Oh, I think you could probably do it from upper elementary through adult.
Okay.
Yeah. The littles might like it too. It might be a little, it would depend on the student. You would have to know the child and, their maturity level and everything. But I like that one a lot. Does anyone have any other resources that are kind of interesting and helpful? Sometimes this also kind of falls into for handling frustrations and things like that. I feel like a lot of our students deal with a lot of frustration throughout the day.
Misty, I'm gonna look. You remember that one that Oregon had that the Oregon branch created it, and we thought it was just so good that we just didn't even. We're like, why even try and recreate this? But it was the how to advocate for yourself. I'll find it.
Yeah, that's a great one too. So the Oregon branch of the IDA developed basically a form that you can fill out that has like a checklist, like accommodations. Like, these are my accommodations. This is what my strengths are. This is what my weaknesses are, for a student to actually check and then give to the teacher. And so it teaches them a little bit about self-advocacy, but in a safe way where they're not having to do like, hey, teacher, this is what I need. And it's an easy little checklist, but also it was a nice form. It was very well put together.
Yeah, it wasn't too wordy.
Yeah,
If I don't find it tonight, I'll find it
we'll find it. That was a good one. I
before we
agree.
send it out.
That does sound good.
I was trying to look up the eye to eye movement and that Colorado Yes and the YAP program, the ambassador program,
Mhm.
through the IDA, and I couldn't find any new updated information about that, and so I didn't include it about the whole becoming an advocate, a student ambassador and self advocate. I'm hopeful that I'll be able to find that because I think that's important about helping the students learn about themselves and advocate for themselves will help them to handle their frustration. You know, the more they know about themselves, the more they're able to put into words what their needs are.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else have anything that they'd like to share that helps with handling the whole student? You know, the frustrations or the emotions. I always feel like this is a tough area.
Sometimes I find just listening.
Mm-hmm.
Just, how was your day? And they look at you like, you really want to hear?
Mhm.
My husband, so I work out of the house for tutoring, and so my husband listens to our Zoom sessions, and he hears me asking the weirdest questions to the students. You know, besides, what did you do? Well, why did you like that? Tell me more about that. And he's going, you just ask so many questions when you first start. Doesn't that frustrate them? I'm going, no, they just want to be. They just want you to be curious about them. They really just
Yes.
want you to ask, like, oh, what'd you do? Well, where'd you go? What'd you like best? Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
It takes 5 minutes, and then they're open to take on harder tasks. It seems like.
Mm-hmm.
We usually
Yeah.
just check in with our kids on the morning meeting and just see how they're doing and,
Mhm.
see how their moods are. We also have one of those like kind of stretchy things, where we stop and breathe. One of those little
Good.
things
Uh-huh.
that goes out. Yeah. So we do that too for the SEL part.
I think that's this stopping and stretching and breathing, anything that can kind of teach the mindfulness and the, stop, take a breath, because, our kiddos get so overwhelmed so quickly depending on the situation. And so getting them to go ahead and start tuning into how do you kind of reset yourself. And there's just, there's all kinds of ways that the stop, you're thinking, take a breath, some very short yoga, just anything to get them thinking about slowing down. I think is a fantastic thing to incorporate on just a regular basis.
I agree with you. I've set a timer, and I have some students that have taken yoga in school. And so I'll say, okay, it's your turn to be the teacher. Let's pick 3 exercises you'd like to do, and we'll do them. And it's 5 minutes and we move on, but it's enough of a mental break. And they really look forward to it. Is it time yet to do our exercises? And they're really good at it, and I'm not. And so they love that too.
Might help me get a little more motivated.
It has for me. I'm like, my gosh, you're so good at holding that pose.
This is
We
not
can-
specific SEL, but I didn't mention it earlier, and so I want to make sure that we do. I put it on the slideshow already for resources, but the IDA has put together a dyslexia library, which has videos and infographics and on and on. There's so much information on there because we wanted to be able to have someone, you know, like a new, especially a new parent finding out, or an educator that's really relatively new to it, to just be able to search and find good quality material. And so right now it's primarily IDA material, but it eventually we're going to be pulling from all sorts of partners that we have in the community. And so just keep that bookmarked, because there's all sorts of good things on there. And I can almost guarantee you there is an SEL webinar in somewhere on there.
Something else, and I know we've all heard about the different, you know, Hank Zipser, and there's so many books out there where the main character is dyslexic, or maybe it's ADHD. I am a big fan of encouraging parents to read those at night with their kiddos. We found it really helpful with our own kids to read those books together, kind of as part of our nighttime routine, and just to normalize the conversations. Wow, have you ever felt that way? Or how do you think he felt? Or what would you have done if you were in his shoes? And it just creates kind of a, you know, a way for kids to relate, and to normalize whatever it is they may experience, or the diagnosis, or any of those pieces.
Mhm. Absolutely.
And I think for parents who maybe don't know about dyslexia or can't relate, I think it really it's a safe way for parents to kind of get a little bit of a track as they get to hear how their kids react, or share some of their own experiences. I just know for me, like, I grew up with dyslexia, and I studied it in school, so I had a bit of a different take than my husband, who, you know, didn't have that kind of experience. So it just kind of is, in general, helped us kind of talk through things and kind of learn together about some things.
I like that.
One thing that our school did this year, our principal or our director is really big on SEL as well. And so we all had to read the book Permission to Feel over the summer. And they actually hired Jessie Coleman to come in, and she comes in once a week to our kids and like talks to them about their emotions and how to express their emotions. And sometimes I sit down and sometimes I leave just to see if they like talk more just to her instead of me. And it's really interesting how much they've opened up to somebody that they don't really know, and somebody that's kind of like outside of the loop. So that's definitely something to look into. If you guys have like the ability to do that at your school, it's really interesting. And she encouraged us to find like something to do with our kids every day that included like the emotional meter. So like every morning my kids get on Google Classroom and they have to look at their mood meter, and they have to decide, okay, how am I feeling? I'm in the, green zone today, and here's why I'm in the green zone. And they have to type it out to me and tell me. And a lot of the kids will say like, I'm feeling really anxious today, or really nervous today because my mom's flying for the first time since COVID. And it just kind of helps to know how they feel at the beginning of each day before you even get started. So I do that for morning work every day, which is kind of nice.
And what is that called? The Google emotional.
Oh, I just use it in Google Classroom. So I'll send the link in the chat of the book that we had to read. It was called Permission to Feel. And then she is like Michelle, you're on this conference, I see. I think, was she like a part of I don't know if she helped to write it, or because Jessie comes to us, but I don't think she's the author. She's not the author.
I don't know a specific. No, I don't. I do know that they have a podcast too if someone wants to listen about it before purchasing the book.
Yeah.
But there's a chart you're saying that you put into Google Classroom?
Yeah, so it's called the mood meter. Let me see if I can Google a picture real fast. And it
And
gives,
some people have used emoji.
That's like a thermometer, right?
yeah.
Or is it the circle?
Okay, so I just sent in the chat the Pinterest, like it should link you to it. And it shows like the reds are like enraged, furious, frustrated, nervous. And then like your yellows are energized, lively, joyful. And it just kind of shows you where they are.
Mm-hmm.
And so I put that into like a Google Classroom document every morning, and then they have to like tell me what color they are and why they're feeling that way. And then
Yeah,
usually, like I'll do like a fun question to go with it, like, oh, what did you do, this weekend, or what's your favorite candy, something silly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I put the Big Life Journal in there.
Mhm.
It's a beautiful book. I have it downstairs, but it's very interactive. They have it for different age levels, all the way little kids, all the way up to teenagers. So it's geared, but there's a lot of really cool art in there and places where they would journal and, even just put in small things. There's a lot about goal setting, resiliency, how your brain thinks, emotions, things like that. They have on the website, you can sign up for their newsletter, and you usually get between 2 and 5 freebie printables
Oh,
each month that they have, or ideas. And then they have a podcast, and I haven't listened to it yet, but I think it's run by kids for kids, and it's all about the podcast right now, right?
yeah.
So they talk about perseverance and they talk about, overcoming obstacles, big feelings, that kind of, it's got a little bit of everything in there. So even if you have a student, I think it would be a good birthday or Christmas gift or anything like that too. And I think it comes in digital form and in the physical book form, and the physical book form is very high quality.
Barbara, is that the Big Life Journal you're referring to?
Yeah. Yeah.
Great, thanks.
I put in there the Stripes Yoga. They spoke, oh gosh, it's probably 3 or 4 years ago. It's mostly for younger students, but you can adapt it to older students. I would say younger, like elementary age. When you get to upper elementary, it's you don't have to include all the details, in other words, or the yeah. Anyways, but it's about basically preparing yourself to learn. And so, like, what do you do before you sit down before a test? What do you do before you sit down to start learning? It's about the deep breathing. You can do belly breaths. You can do the tree pose. You can do all these empowering poses, or you can. Then it has ones to calm down, like of course, you can do the baby pose or infant pose. So it has a nice variety in there, and it has some great images, and it tells them step by step how to do it. It comes with a CD that they can also play at home, or DVD they can play at home. I have found it's worked well with my students that are a little more hyperactive, just doing some basic deep breathing before we start learning, and then using it, helping them to generalize that to the classroom when they're feeling kind of overwhelmed or anxious. So that's a good one. And then in the summer, sometimes they offer summer camps for students to go and learn and do the yoga classes. And it's up in Richardson.
Do you guys have anything on like social media, or like with girls in particular? Or, I feel like the war of words gets hard and fast with that group. I've the American Girl books are actually pretty good at outlining and mapping a variety of topics there for girls, but I didn't know if there was anything. I feel like there's an upcoming talk or something about social media and dyslexia, but I'm not recalling where I saw it right now.
It sounds fabulous.
I wish I had a resource to recommend. I think a lot of it comes into listening and helping them reflect, but it is such a different medium than what we grew up with. That it's difficult because they'll be like, well, you got to be familiar with the DMs and the apps and all sorts of different things. And most of the time, when it's a parent asking, they'll be like, you just don't know anything. But when you're the teacher or one of the others, a lot of times they'll just be like, DM, right? And they'll be like, oh, okay, so that's when blah, 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 blah. And so as they're talking it through, sometimes it helps. Is there a way to not get messages from her? You know, like those types of things that you could kind of brainstorm with them. But otherwise, no, let us know if you figure out what the one you were thinking about is.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I know so many that need that. I need it.
I think it'd be good. I certainly be good for me. I'm happy to hear that the American Girl books are still good. I haven't used them in a while, but I'm glad that they're staying timely.
Mm-hmm.
They have them on all different kinds of topics now, like everything from worry to managing money to social media to, you know, when you're not getting along with your friends and things like that. And the ones about, you know, not getting along with your friends, bullying, those kinds of things, they actually have model conversations
Oh, that's good.
in them. So it kind of can help, you know, a lot of kids with these type of learning differences, you know, they're not quick with the comeback, right? So kind of
Mhm.
rehearsing some things that you might say or some things that you might bring up when you're in that situation or confronted with it, it can kind of help kind of rehearse that a bit or map it out.
Mhm.
Right.
Absolutely.
So it looks like, I mean, we have like 5 minutes left, which, but I had questions, but is there anything we didn't talk about that we want to put in here? We can obviously do this again anytime, but we can always just add resources. Like I said, we'll email you the PDF version of this later this week, but all of you have links to this. So it's a working document. And if there's something you thought of or you couldn't remember what it was and want to add in, please do so, because we'll just email it out on Friday. That way we have time to insert some more information and helpful resources. But is there anything that we haven't talked about that we need to throw in here or add?
I think this has been great.
Mm-hmm. Very helpful. I love it. That's what I miss. This is one of the things I missed about when we don't have before and after big meetings.
Right.
The conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I know there were a couple of things in the chat. I will add those in when I get through, when I finish sharing the screen. But thank you. I thank everyone for coming. I do miss seeing everyone and chit-chatting with everyone. But I would like to do this again in the fall, just because I think it's important for us to touch base. I don't know what it'll look like moving forward. We may have a hybrid, we may stay virtual, we may be in person. We'll figure that out as we go. I do know until June, we're going to just stay virtual. But again, if you need your CEU, we can go all the way back to the top.
I just linked it. If you go above the thank yous, but I can repaste them.
So yeah, if you need a CEU, let us know. Fill out the Google form. If you don't get it by the end of the week, please reach out to us. Give us a couple of days though to get those to you. We appreciate it. And if you have any questions or anything you'd like to add, please do so. Everyone have a wonderful, beautiful, sunny week. The sun shines so fabulous. I'm so happy.
It's like perfect walking weather too.
I know it is. It is.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you. Have a
you.
wonderful evening.
You too. Thanks for all your effort.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome, Misty.
I know. Let me see. I'm going through all the questions.
Thanks, Misty.
You're welcome. Have a wonderful evening.
We're like hyper furious. Well done.
Oh, you did.
Until I had to jump off for to pick them up. So you'll say
Oh,
hi.
it's all
I'm
good.
sorry.
Bye.
Hi, Emily, too.
Hi, boys. How was your first day back?
Oh my God, it was so much fun.
It was surprisingly easy to find all my classes.
Yeah. That class is very loud.
Is it so different than home?
Oh my gosh, Mr. Keen, my first period class. I never heard
This is Mr. Keen, who's
grumpy
never
old.
never taught an English class, a high school code teacher. That
Okay,
No,
there
no,
was
he's on social
there was
studies.
never